Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Jessica Katanga, and in today's video we are going to be exploring You Season 4, all the mental health that is running through all the different characters, so like Joe and Lady Phoebe and all the others, and accuracies and inaccuracies, and we're going to go into, what does real mental health look like and how the portrayal that we usually see in Hollywood is kind of either problematic or more helpful. So if you like the sound of that, then stick around and let's get straight into it. So Joe is a white man who commits a lot of crime and then is blamed on mental illness. I don't know where I've seen that storyline before. So let's just talk about the problematicness and the privilege that is Joe Goldberg. In whatever episode it is, we see that he is having an auditory and visual hallucination of Reese Montrose. A lost sense of control, kind of knew sometimes that Reese was not real, and maybe sometimes he didn't know that Reese was not real. He had some type of retained insight. So now let's start off with auditory hallucinations. Auditory hallucinations are most commonly known to happen in schizophrenia, where people are hearing voices. But it's actually kind of more deeper than that. So second person is when the voices are talking to you, and third person is when the voices are talking about you. And whether the voices are talking to you or about you can tell us as clinicians as to what disorder you probably have. So third person hallucinations, it's like a running commentary on the person's behaviors, actions, what they're doing, running commentary on their life. Now you can imagine just how annoying and distressing this is for patients who are suffering with this. And third person hallucinations are distinctive for schizophrenia. So if somebody says there's voices talking about them, that's 99% schizophrenia. So that's where it was a bit, that was where it was inaccurate in You, because Reese was talking to Joe. Well, they were talking back and forth. So in depression, for example, you can sometimes, in psychotic depression, you could get these voices being very mean to you, putting you down, very derogatory. And then maybe in other ones, maybe for example in schizophrenia, you could get commands. So it could be telling you what to do, what you need to do, and and things like that. And that is what we saw in You. He was getting commands from Reese. However, it is very important to note that in all mental health illnesses, people with mental health disorders are more likely to harm themselves than to harm other people. And I feel like Hollywood do this again and again and again. And Hollywood has real life implications for people with schizophrenia in real life, because then people think that they're dangerous. We see real life implications for real people, so I feel like Hollywood need to be more mindful of that. I feel like they were just trying to cram in so many different mental illnesses into the character, and it was just done very messily. And I don't know whether they were trying to shed light on mental illness or whether they were trying to be provocative. I don't know. Now let's move on to Lady Phoebe. I want to talk about the scene where she's about to get married to that person who wants to just take all of her money. And then Kate says, oh, she's having a real manic episode right now. And I just feel like that was not correct. I think at that moment, Phoebe was rightly panicking about the mistake that she was about to make. So a manic episode is, firstly, it has to be, you can't just have a manic episode over one day. It has to be a minimum of 5 days or more, because it has to be a persisted, elevated mood. And that elevation could be either they're hyper, or it can even be irritability. And then there are other symptoms: increased energy to the point that they might not even be sleeping at all, or just for maybe 2 hours every day over that time. They might have inflated sense of self-worth, which is called grandiosity. That's not what Lady Phoebe didn't have that. They might have racing thoughts. She did have the racing thoughts. And they might engage in risk-taking behavior. So we saw that with Lady Phoebe, she was taking drugs. She was marrying the person who she shouldn't have been marrying. So maybe you could say that's a risky behavior. Not what Lady Phoebe was having. She was having maybe a bit more of a panic attack, where you just get overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. You feel like you're about to die, hyperventilating. Then also they then like pan to all these like medicines, and they were like diazepam. They were just benzodiazepine. They were benzos, and that would be mainly used for anxiety. So again, more in line with a panic attack. Oh, and with Lady Phoebe, when she's having this panic, it's very interesting how they show the men, so Joe with mental illness versus Lady Phoebe and her stalker, for example. Joe, he's calculated, he's clever, he gets away with things, and Lady Phoebe is just some type of like a neurotic, anxious, neurotic mess. So again, that's kind of like, it's very gendered, the way that they're showing mental health. And of course, with the gender, then also we need to think about race and how it's very romantic when white men in Hollywood or in real life have mental illnesses compared to when people with melanin have the same mental illnesses, how that is viewed upon. That reminds me of an interview that I did with somebody who has borderline personality disorder, and that's in my Taboo series, and she literally said that like her as a Sri Lankan woman with borderline personality disorder, she's received in a completely way compared to her white counterparts with borderline personality disorder. You can watch that up there if you're interested. And then let's talk about delusions. A delusion is a fixed false belief that somebody holds that is not in line with social or cultural norms, and they hold it even if you were to give them contrary evidence. And delusions are something that runs through all of the seasons, really. We see that Joe has delusions in terms of he sees one thing that maybe a woman will do, and he'll think that is something that is directed at him. That's called ideas of reference, where people with certain mental health illnesses or delusions will see something which is a very innocuous or harmless thing. So for example, traffic light turning green, and they'll assign a specific meaning to it. So we see it with Joe, we see it with, what was that woman, that maid that comes and is obsessed with Lady Phoebe. So they're saying that she has erotomania, which is a delusion usually centered around somebody who is famous or a celebrity, and they believe that they're in love with each other, or that they have some type of special connection, even though they've never met before. And then now, so they're saying that that lady had that with Lady Phoebe, and then also Joe might have had that with Reese, and then that's why he believes that he and Reese have a special connection, to the point that Reese is one of his voices, even though they probably never truly met before. Yeah, I think it was the episode, all the scenes where Reese is in there was like fake. It was a figment of his imagination. So he's never met Reese. So is Reese one of his erotomanic delusions? But again, erotomania, it's a very rare disorder. I don't think anybody's coming into hospital with erotomania, but I think it could maybe fuel a lot of like stalking cases and stuff that for celebrities. So I'm sure in a clinical world, it's not something I've ever seen. I don't think it's anything I would ever see. But if somebody's a celebrity, I'm sure then they would say that, oh my God, no, it's so common because I get XYZ fans and XYZ stalkers, unfortunately. And then I think it is important for us to mention addiction. I feel like addiction is one thing that they did do right in this season. In friendship groups, drugs can happen a lot. Drug and alcohol use can happen a lot. And then there are always maybe people in a friendship group or in a social setting that then take it too far. And it's quite hard to know whether you're still having fun with the substance or whether it's becoming an issue. And I have made a video on that. So yeah, make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, because that's where I give like bite-sized information about different mental health diagnoses. So yeah, I guess kind of well done to you on portraying the addiction. I think that one is an easy one for Hollywood to do. I think usually they do it well. And then in terms of the last illness is depression and self-harm and suicide. So there was the bridge scene. I was discussing it with my friends, and we were just like, that bridge scene was it wasn't emotional. It was just like, I don't know what they were like. I feel like they just really approach a lot of these mental health things with no kind of tact. I know at the beginning of the episode it does say like there are scenes of suicide, and if you feel this way then ring the hotline, but I feel like Hollywood need to do more than that. Like, don't just put a hotline number, like actually explore these things in detail. But maybe that's not what you is for. Maybe you is just about crime and sex and passion and things. So yeah, those are my thoughts as from a clinician's perspective on you, the season, not you. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Did you enjoy this season? Did you appreciate how they portrayed mental health in this season? Do you think it's helpful or harmful how Hollywood portrays mental health? And if you feel like it was harmful, then please comment down below a movie or a TV show that does it really, really well. Or if there's any other movie or TV show that you want me to analyze, and I'll do that for you. But thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and please subscribe, because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I know that we can do this. And I shall see you in the next one. Bye.